Hello, how are you? And welcome to this series on functional neurological disorder. This is part 4 in the series, and my name is John Scanlon. I'm a hypnotherapist, and I work with FND on a continuous basis. And in the last video, I mentioned about the nervous system and how it receives a signal and whether it regards it as safe or unsafe. If it regards it as unsafe, it goes down the sympathetic nervous system, which is the stress response. If it regards it as safe, it goes down the parasympathetic, which is the rest and relaxation system. I've seen a few videos recently where people have to actually justify that they have FND, and I know the symptoms are real. Anyone who lives with FND and anyone who has FND and anyone who spends any time with someone with FND knows that those symptoms are real. Please don't add to your stress by feeling the need to justify it to someone who just makes silly statements. It only adds to your stress. And what I wanted to deal with was stress and trauma today. So when therapists use the word trauma, and it's used quite a lot, I've reframed that. And what I've done really is I'm using the term heightened retained negative emotion. Something happened. Hopefully it's over. Hopefully that event is over and it's in the past. But the emotion still hasn't been processed. The amygdala, which is the brain's security system, is still on alert for something like that. Once that event is over, your logical mind knows that it's over, it's in the past. But if the unconscious has not processed the emotion around that and filed a memory, then the amygdala is still on alert for it. And every time it's sending a signal down. Our brains, our minds, if you like, regard them almost as a container or a cup or as a pressure cooker. And we all have certain things in that. It's called living. We all have a certain amount of stress in our lives, and we all need stress in our lives, actually. Otherwise, we'd never get out of bed in the morning. It causes us to do the things that we want to do, and that's absolutely fine. And we all have certain things that have happened that, it's just called life. Often, when people come to me to say they don't have any trauma, it may be that the continuous work stress that is just building and building and building, or the bad relationship, or the breakup, or the whatever. And it's just building. All the while it's filling, these are not being processed. And then if some big traumatic shock comes, all that happens is it fills that up. I'm not going to flow over because I don't want to clean up, but you get the point. It fills up that pressure cooker, that glass, and it floods over. And the amygdala looks at that from a heightened state from then on out. But once that memory is processed, once that emotion is released, and once the unconscious mind understands that event is over, it now begins to not send it down the sympathetic nervous system. It begins to say, okay, that's in the past. What have I learned from that? I often use the example with clients that, if you had your favorite meal and you went to a particular restaurant and that particular day it wasn't cooked properly or whatever it is, and you got sick, does that mean that you just don't go back to that restaurant or you never eat that meal again? It's a choice. Everything is perception. Everything is how we look at it. Two people can look at the same movie and have a different response. Why? Because it's how we perceive the world to be. And our experiences have dictated. And if we're anxious, if we've had bad experiences in the past and we've never emptied that container of our mind, then we're going to look at that in a security context. That's what the brain does. So in hypnotherapy, these are much easier to deal with than in standard therapy because they're unconscious problems. They're not conscious problems. You logically know they're in the past. Unconsciously, you don't. You keep reliving those moments. Your brain is on alert, even if you're not consciously aware of it. Anyway, I hope that helps. And If there's any videos that people would like me to cover, please do. I'll do my best to cover. I have one more that I planned on doing and a couple more I've been asked to do. And if there's any more after that, please just let me know. And I wish you the very best and have a beautiful day. Take care.